The city of Liverpool has a rich cultural heritage and is famous for its music, football and comedy, which have all been integral to the character of this city. It has a rich maritime history, but in recent years has had to reinvent itself as a thriving modern metropolis, and is still one of the most famous and popular cities in Europe. This weekend, it plays host to one of the roughest and toughest sports on the planet, with the Echo Arena in the city's dockland, the venue for the opening round of the FIM Super Enduro World Championship. It's the first time in a number of years that a venue in Britain has been used for this series, plus many of the world's top riders are here to take on one of the sporting challenges of the year. First item on the agenda at Liverpool is to whittle down all the competitors to 16 finalists. The indoor tracks are so tight and twisty that not every entrant can take part, so the quickest men are selected, following some very intense practice sessions. Two different tracks will be used during the event, both technically demanding and sure to serve up some thrilling racing. The Prestige and Junior classes will use the full track, while the women will use the course without the large rock garden section. Let's check out some of the star names at Liverpool, starting with the defending world champion.
Yeah, I mean, the track is, it's tricky for sure. The dirt makes it really difficult. It gets really rutted and hard to ride, but yeah, that's the way it is. I would say, the traction we have on the track for sure is going to be a little bit blurry, but like I said, we all ride the same track and all have the same chances of losing and winning.
There's also former champion David Knight, winner in 2008.
It's pretty tight, so it's hard getting past people, but I'm enjoying it. It's felt quite good out in first practice. Just tried some different lines here and there, which is some are good, some are bad. I think if you try pushing hard like normal, you'll end in tears like, so I think you just got to try and be steady. So. A little bit thinking.
Also in Liverpool is 2009 champion Ivan Cervantes of Spain, another who's finding the going tough.
I think the corner with the locks, because coming with the water in the bike and it's a little bit wet, on the wet and lock is not a very good combination.
New to this year's FIM Super Enduro World Championship is the introduction of Super Pole. Of the 16 qualifiers, the 6 fastest riders will get another chance to improve their position on the gate by taking part in a flying lap session. The half dozen riders included Joachim Lundgren of Sweden, Johnny Walker of England. 2 Isle of Man riders were involved, Danny McCanny and David Knight. Plus reigning 4 times FIM Super Enduro World Champion Tadej Blazujak of Poland. He recorded the fastest time and begins the first race in pole position. This is how they finish, with McCanny 6th fastest behind Lundgren. Knight is 4th with Walker 3rd. The American Cody Webb is 2nd, with Tadej Blazujak top of the charts. We're all set then for the first Prestige race of the day. 5-second board is up. This is the view from David Knight as we wait for the gate to drop. We're away. Good start for Knight and Blazujak. Knight looks like he's got the whole shot, but Blazujak has the inside line, or has he? As Cody Webb pushes through, but Blazujak has the line into the reels. David Knight goes inside. It's Blazujak with the edge as they hit the back straight and onto the logs. Cody Webb is 2nd, but only just from David Knight. Johnny Walker 4th. Joachim Lundgren, the big tall Swede, on what else but the Husqvarna in 5th, with Daniel Gibert 6th. Crucial to get a good start, with Blazujak on his 250 getting the best of all. He's the target they're all chasing as he comes out of the water splash. And here comes David Knight on Cody Webb, and he's through into 2nd. So Knight through into 2nd place, over the tyres and onto the 2nd set of reels. All the while, Blazujak continues to set the pace. Walker in trouble, but he slipped back behind Gomez and Redmond on bike 7. Perhaps he was held up as we go back to Blazujak, who does not want to look over his shoulder, as here comes David Knight. This is the section they're not keen on. Extremely slippery. Races can be won and lost in here, and the crowd is going berserk because David Knight on his Sherco is drawing up on Blazujak as they go toward the hairpin at the start of lap 2. Oh, he's hit him! Knight has T-boned Blazujak. He went for a gap that wasn't there. The arena has erupted as they get going again, and that may cost Knight more than Blazujak. It's upset his rhythm, and his momentum will certainly stall. Here's a replay from Knight as they go into the turn. And that looks like a mistake by the marksman, although Blazuzak had stopped in the turn. The main thing is they both stayed up. Back at the rocks, and that's Ricky Dietrich from the USA who's in trouble. Blazuzak pulling away, and that coming together may have broken David Knight's challenge. It will have certainly upset his rhythm, and now he's got the American Cody Webb right behind him. Gilbert back in 4th place behind Cody Webb, who still has David Knight in his sights. Blazuzak still in control. He exits the water splash. We go back with Knight, who's still looking to reel in the world champion. Knight hits the tyres, and they'll be feeling it already. This track is energy sapping, more so than usual. It's a lot tighter than they're used to. Through the tyre section, which has been remodified since the start of the weekend. The total concentration from Blazuzak as he hits the rocks. Everyone has said this is unbelievably slippery, but the pole finds a way through. Meanwhile, Webb is ahead of Knight for 2nd place. The marksman pops inside, cuts across the American, and it's David Knight from the little Isle of Man, taking on and beating the best from the mighty USA. Huge cheers from the hundreds of supporters who've travelled from the nearby island to support their hero. The David Knight then from Cody Webb. Blazuzak still pulling away as they go into the reels. Webb goes tight, Knight takes the outside line. They're side by side yet again. Oh, Webb goes back in the 2nd. Fitness may just be the key here, but Knight is fighting back again. Meanwhile, Bellini's holding up Lettenbichler and Roman. Blazuzak still leading, but it's all eyes on this immense battle between Webb and Knight. And here comes the marksman again. He squeezed himself in a 2nd. Webb going wide into the turn and created the space for Knight to exploit. And Webb looks to have lost a bit of momentum as Gilbert closes in. Walker back in 5th place on bike 22. And all the while these guys squabble away, Tadej Blazuzak is pulling further away out front. So Blazuzak looking the business, and there's the gap back to 2nd place, which is far from settled. Blazuzak from Poland on the KTM, Knight from the Isle of Man on the Sherco for the first time, ahead of Webb from the USA on the Beta, with Francis Gilbert on the Hussenberg in 4th, and still in the picture. Blazuzak looks like he's got this one in the bag, unless something happens between now and the checkered flag. This course is so tight and twisty. Well, the pole, the 4 times FIM Super Enduro World Champion, could get held up by slower riders, etc., or even the slightest mistake could allow the chasing pack to close in. Johnny Walker looks to be closing on Gilbert, as Webb there had a foot off the peg as they hit this back section. Riding with David Knight picking his lines. This is Andy Lettenbichler, the German on the KTM, with Mario Raman just behind him, and Matthias Bellino on bike 69. Gilbert with a moment, and that allows Johnny Walker up to 4th. So now it's Poland leading the Isle of Man, with the USA 3rd, England 4th, and France back in 5th. Blazuzak with the same line through the rocks, and someone finds himself stuck on the tyres just behind at the back of the picture. David Knight still very much in the picture, especially with slower traffic up ahead. Cody Webb with a bucking Bronco style as he paddles his way through. All it takes is an unexpected obstacle to slow the race leader and squeeze everything back up again. Johnny Walker through the firewood section to complete his lap, but he's been passed by Gilbert again, so he slipped back to 5th. He was 3rd in the Super Enduro World Championship, the last series having finished runner-up the year before. 25 is Ivan Cervantes, the Spaniard, who was Super Enduro World Champion back in 2009. Over the reels goes Walker, still in 5th, as he heads into the logs. They'll really be feeling it now. Out front, though, Blazuzak cutting through the slower riders like the proverbial hot knife. Cody Webb still refusing to let go of David Knight. Just can't quite reel him in. Fitness may be the key for Knight. He's not been as active as the likes of Blazuzak in recent months. 35 years of age now. He's won nearly every major Enduro title on the planet. 3 times world champion, as well as the GNCC series in the United States. He won that a couple of times. He's won at Erzberg. Plus, he was Super Enduro world champion back in 2008 when this series first began. Here's the man who has dominated this championship. He's won the last 4 Super Enduro titles, and we can see why from this performance. As Cody Webb has another pop at David Knight. The marksman knows he still has a huge battle on his hands. Defends his position, does he? Locks off the American. It's the 30-year-old former trials rider Blazuzak, who's once again the man to beat, though. No matter how hard he tries, David Knight cannot shirk off the attentions of Cody Webb. Two of the tallest men out there, they are quite literally giants as they hit the rock section again. No riders to get in their way this time, as Webb is content just to follow the same line as Knight. Not far to go for Teddy Blazuzak as he hits the reels. Still looking as fresh as he did at the start of this race. And just judge his body language with that of the very tired rider he's closing in on. Blazuzak is going to start the 5th defence of his Super Enduro World Championship title with a full complement of championship points. 2 more races still to come in the prestige category here at the Echo Arena in Liverpool. Meanwhile, Cody Webb is in trouble and has hit the dirt, so David Knight looks to have 2nd place sewn up. Here goes Blazuzak on his last lap. No pressure on David Knight. He'll keep trying, though, and hope Blazuzak falls back into his clutches. Checkered flag, meanwhile, is ready and waiting to greet Tadej Blazuzak, who will record the first FIM Super Enduro World Championship win of the new campaign. He had a scare early on when he was hit by Knight, but it's all turned out okay in the end. David Knight now making his way to the flag to take what should be 2nd place, but he's got Gibert closing in very, very fast. The Frenchman is close. Is he going to be close enough? Here they go to the line. There's Knight, where's Gibert? Here he comes. He's a bike length behind, but Knight gets him. What a race that was. It was a close call right at the end, but David Knight just hanging on to 2nd place. However, no disputing the performance from the man in the #1 spot, Tadej Blazuzak. The top 2 riders in the opening Super Enduro race of the year will go off to take the applause of the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, David just told me he lost his front brake, so, you know, because that wasn't really clean, I would say, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's racing and he lost his front brake, so, you know, forgiven to the next race. And now, you know, it's all about that reversed order 2nd heat and then the last main, and I'll try to do my best and see where we're going to end up.
I T-boned Taddy there, but then I hit the front brake in the rocks, and I was like, ah, lucky he was there. If he wasn't, I would have been straight to the fence, I think. But no, I couldn't keep with him in that one, no way. Just rode my own race and just try and keep Cody behind, and yeah, then it worked out not so bad.
Stick around, there's more racing to come. Next we focus on the junior and the girls. Welcome back to Liverpool in the opening round of the FIM Super Enduro World Championship at the Echo Arena. We've had 1 race so far, and it's fair to say it was an absolute corker.
We're away. Good start for Knight and Blazuzak. Oh, he's hit him. Knight has T-boned Blazuzak. He had a scare early on when he was hit by Knight, but it's all turned out okay in the end.
Let's turn our attention to the junior class. One man to keep an eye on is the Italian Niccolo Mori.
I think really hard race today, but it's for me the first year of Enduro Indoor World Championship, but the organization is okay, and race I think it's good also to see, also to look.
We're all set then for the first junior race of the day. Andreas Linerton in his first ever Enduro race. The Swede taking pole position on the gate, just ahead of Jamie McCanny from the Isle of Man on bike 68. 5-second ball is up. There seems to be an eternity waiting for the gate to drop. But we're away, and we're on board with McCanny, but Linerton takes the whole shot to see, but they all go wide. McCanny slips inside. It's Linerton who leads. With McCanny seconds, they go toward the reels. Magnus Tor is up there, so too is Pavel Simkovsky, as well as Gavin Humphreys. Tor in second ahead of McCanny, so it's a mixture of Swedes and Brits at the front. Jamie McCanny trying to emulate his older brother Danny, who won this championship last year, but has since moved up to the prestige class. On board with McCanny through the rocks. And he looks to have found a safe passage, as has Andreas Larnesson. 1 or 2 finding the going tough, and it's getting a touch frantic in there. Back with McCanny, who is up to second behind Larnesson. Someone else in trouble. Jamie McCanny in second place, but he won't catch Andreas Larnesson. What a performance from the Swedish rider. 19 years of age, his first indoor enduro, and he's a race winner. McCanny will take second place, but the spotlight very much on this young man on the number 11 KTM. Confirmation of the results, Freeman finishing 4th ahead of Simkowski with Humphries in 6th. Tor gets 3rd place behind McCanny with Larnesson in the number 1 spot.
No troubles with other riders. It's easy to fall on the track, and yeah, it will be harder next race, I guess.
It's not just racing that brings the crowds to the Super Enduro Championship. There's plenty of entertainment throughout the event, including some stunning freestyle motocross. Our next piece of race action comes courtesy of the women's class. Representing the USA in Liverpool is Louise Forsley. She's part of the KTM Enduro Factory team.
It's been a fun time. It's the track is difficult because of the dirt and some of the obstacles. It's pretty wet and slippery, but it's still fun.
There's also plenty of British interest. Jane Daniels is Britain's number 1 female enduro rider.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's really technical, which is good for me because I'm one to just carry on when it gets a bit tough, but should be good fun.
The girls are all set and ready to go. There's the 5-second board. There are riders from Spain, the USA and Great Britain as we wait for the bikes to get away. And they fly into turn 1. Good start for Jane Daniels, but she looks like she's going to get it past as Laia Sanz hits the front. So too Sandra Gomez on bike 93. So the Spanish girls away well. Sanz is a multiple world women's trials champion who has also twice been the top woman in the grueling Dakar Rally. She's already pulling away from Gomez. And Emma Bristow on bike 6 of Great Britain, who's also a top trials rider, but this is her first ever go at enduro in any shape or form. She's riding Wayne Braybrook's Sherco. There goes Sanz, very, very experienced rider. Gomez on bike 93 and Bristow on bike 6. They're together and almost coming together. Bristow just off the bike momentarily. Sanz completes the opening lap as race leader. Here they come. Bristow still trying to gain on Gomez, who's the sister of Prestige rider Alfredo. Bristow looking to gain as they approach the cotton reels. They're side by side. Oh, is this Bristow's? Oh, she stuffs the front into the rear, into the wheel, I should say. Has another go, and Emma Bristow looking so promising there. She manages to get over. That may just give Gomez the edge. Oh, and Gomez in trouble now. Jane Daniels back in 4th place on bike 96 with the American Louise Forsley back in 5th. But there goes Bristow. So Emma Bristow up into 2nd place, but some distance off race leader Sanz. Here is Sanz, who will once again be competing in South America in the forthcoming Dakar Rally, but she's dropped it in the forward section. A tired-looking flop. Meanwhile, Emma Bristow is closing. The crowd's urging her on. Here they go. She recovers in time, but Bristow has closed right in again. What a race this is. Here's Sandra Gomez back in 3rd place. Here goes Bristow again. She's having another go. Sanz, she's hit the rocks and down. Bristow's down just as he seemed poised to take the lead. She's getting so much encouragement from the crowd. It really looked as if she was going to take over then. Sanz knows she's quite fortunate to still be leading, but now she has to find a way past these stricken riders, and all the while that will mean Bristow will be closing again. There's no gap. She'll have to wait. They'll have to take it in turns. Bristow won't be able to go just yet. There goes Sanz. Oh, and she's got to the top. She's going to have to try again, is she? She's going to have one more pop at it. Here we go. Gets on the gas. Bristow is stuck now as well. It's so thick and sticky here, it's ultra difficult to get any traction. Here's Gomez. Oh, they've come together. Who can get away first? Look at this back wheel spinning of Bristow, looking for the traction. She's got it. Bristow away. What a race this has been, with Sanz still in the lead as the checkered flag comes out. Such a race, especially for Emma Bristow, who's never raced Enduro before today. The Sanz goes over, takes the checkered flag. Oh, and it's bedlam in there at the moment. Here comes Emma Bristow. Will she go through? There she is, takes second place. What a ride from Emma Bristow, unbelievable. Well, I think we've just about calmed down after that one. A great race with Bristow second, ahead of Gomez, but Sanz taking top spot.
I started quite good, much better than in the training, in the practice, because I had problems with the clutch, but in the race was much better, and I started quite good. But Emma was pushing hard because I crashed there before in the lock, so the race was really nice, really competitive, so nice.
Hello again from Liverpool in the Echo Arena for the opening round of the FIM Super Enduro World Championship. It's time for the spotlight to fall on the Prestige class again. One of the top riders in this year's series is Johnny Walker. The 22-year-old British rider is ranked third in the world and riding for the KTM factory team.
There's a lot of good riders here, so you know, a lot of American guys have come over, and I think there's been the first race of the year that everyone's going to be wanting to win it.
One of the biggest names in American racing is also in Liverpool this weekend.
It's cool to have an international event, and I think there's 5 of us here racing with the men and 1 woman, so you know, it's fun to be part of that and cool to experience Liverpool.
Ranked 4th in the world is Spain's Alfredo Gomez.
Yeah, a lot of good riders here, so it will be difficult to be in the top 5, but I'm confident for the race.
Once again, it's almost time to go racing. Coming up, it's the second of 3 Prestige races here at Liverpool. This is how they line up for the second Prestige race. It's a reverse grid, so the top riders find themselves starting on the second row.
Heads go down as 5-second board goes up. And we're away. A lot more unpredictable this one, but a good start by Blazuzak. Not such a good start for Knight. In fact, a terrible start for Knight, as he can't find a gap, and now there's nowhere for him to go. Blazuzak has held up the reels momentarily, but gets going. David Knight will not be happy with that. He's now back in about 12th, 13th place, but he was dead last as they hit the cotton reels. He's closed in on Blazuzak now, and they are both mid-pack. Well, what a start to this race with a reverse grid. Ricky Dietrich leads from Carl Redman. The Americans leading the way, with Kevin Rook still giving the US the top 3 positions. Cody Webb is way down the order behind Joachim Lundgren. Here they come out of the water splash with Knight muscling his way through. He's alongside fellow mansman Danny McCanny as they both try and stay with Blazuzak on bike trouble 1. This format may not be popular with the top riders, but there's certainly something different. Oh, Dietrich is down, he's dropped it in the rocks, the race leader loses it, and now becomes an obstacle himself. Here comes Matthias Bellino, who comes together with another rider. It's bedlam. There's Blazuzak picking a safe passage, with Knight still on his pipe. Blazuzak in trouble, through the firewood of all places. Carl Redman is our new race leader. Meanwhile, there's David Knight still in the rock, so he may have had a tumble. He was right behind Blazuzak, but not anymore, as the champion powers toward the reels. It's Redman over the logs with Alfredo Gomez in second place, but making some shapes as Rook still hits Sheba, and the American goes down. Another American faller. What a race, what drama. Blazuzak on a charge. He's got no one behind him. Nothing, just 3 or 4 bikes ahead of him. David Knight at the reels. He's got Mario Roman just ahead of him on 74. Blazuzak, meanwhile, is gaining. He's in 4th place. His next target is the Hussenberg of the Spaniard Giba, who finished 3rd in the first Prestige race of the day. The Spanish rider's trying to close in on his compatriot Alfredo Gomez, who's ranked 4th in the world in this championship. It's a fair bet Blazuzak will have both of them shortly. Gilbert looks to pass Gomez. The American Carl Redmond continues to lead on bike 7. He finished 8th in the earlier race, so he too had a back row start, but made the most of the inside line out of the gate, and at present giving the Americans plenty to shout about. Lots of encouragement still for David Knight on bike 101, but he's in the pack, but muscling his way through as quickly as he can. This is the view from his onboard camera out of the rocks and on toward the firewood. Back with the race leader, and the sensational Danny Gilbert-Catel, to give him his full name, is closing on Kyle Redmond as Brzuziak moves up to 3rd place at the expense of Gomez. Not quite. They're side by side. Stops it up the inside. Brzuziak now setting his sights on the 2 men ahead of him. Redmond still leading from Gilbert. It looks as if they're about to succumb to the might that is Tadej Brzuziak. Gilbert drawing up on Redmond, but the American has the speed around the turn, but they'll soon be coming up the rock section, and I don't think anyone has looked as good through there today as Brzuziak. It's these parts where the Pole looks to gain on his rivals. Here he comes. He elects to go tight in. You can see he's closing in on a tired-looking Redmond. I think the Pole is going to move up into 2nd place as here they go, they're side by side. So Brzuziak goes 2nd, and next in the firing line is Danny Gilbert. Somewhere in there is David Knight as he closes on Johnny Walker on bike 22, and Knight will not be happy with his current position. Meanwhile, here comes race leader Gilbert. He cannot afford the slightest mistake. Total concentration required from the Spanish rider, plus a lot of speed, of course. Back at the rocks, 69 is Bellino with 25 Cervantes, looking quick and strong through this section. Brzuziak on the approach to the Water Splash. In he goes. Oh, Gilbert is down. The race leader hits the dirt. What drama again? Brzuziak will pick his way past and takes over the front. Perhaps the pressure was too much for the Spaniard. So Brzuziak out front, Gilbert back on his feet in 2nd, and who can stop the Polish rider now? He's got a clear track ahead of him as he heads off toward the rock section once more. Here he goes, looking to pick his line through. His front wheel going high. Oh, here comes Gilbert off the inside. Perhaps it's not all over as the Spaniard takes over the front. What a race. Gilbert is sensational. Perhaps he needed that tumble to refocus again because he's looking the business. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a race on our hands, and it's not the foregone conclusion some of us, including myself, thought it would be once Brzuziak hit the front. Meanwhile, it's all very crowded back in the rocks. So here we go again, and Gilbert showing Brzuziak the way around the Echo Arena in Liverpool. And I have to say, the Spaniard still looks very, very strong. Walker still ahead of Knight as they head toward the cotton reels. Walker on the outside, and that's who we ride with. Knight taking the inside option. Oh, and slips through. And now sets about gunning for Lundgren on bike 3. The Swede on the Husqvarna, just looking a little bit unsettled for a moment. Go back to Gilbert, who still leads from Brzuziak, who flings his goggles off the track. The dirt from the rear of Gilbert. Husselberg slapping and sticking against the visor. And effectively, the gloves are off as far as he's concerned. Perhaps not literally, but he's had enough of 2nd. And now he wants 1st. Both riders keeping their front wheels low through the rocks, getting as much traction as they can. That means control, of course, not trying to wrestle a bike with its front wheel in the air and the back wheel digging down. Hats off to Gilbert, though. He's proving that race 1 result was no fluke. David Knight in the rocks, some way down on the front too, even though he's now past Lundgren. Still nothing between Gilbert and Brzuziak as they hit the logs. This is on board with Brzuziak, and just look at the dirt which is sticking to him. No wonder he chucked the goggles. Here they go into the water, and Gilbert is being caught. The champion takes the inside, and he turns in time, will lead this race once more. He does. And Gilbert looking tired. Can he hit back at the rocks again, though? Over the 2nd set of reels. And it's a fair bet that Brzuziak will be making sure he doesn't get caught out on the rocks again. And already he's edging away from Gilbert. Here they go onto the rocks. And you have to say, Gilbert does not look close enough as Brzuziak paddling slightly, but picking a good line through this section. You can't argue that the majority of neutral fans love them, though. They do add an extra element to the event. Blazujak still with Gilbert behind him in second place, and they're closing on Tom Sagot on the KTM, the recently crowned European Enduro 2 champion, who's about to be lapped. Well, what a race this has been. We've had a number of race leaders, but ultimately it looks like 2 wins out of 2 for Blazujak on the KTM from Poland. Here he comes out of the water. Oh, Bellino and Lettenbichler are stuck together on the tyres. There's a gap for Blazujak to use, though, and he doesn't even have to adjust his speed as he passes Lettenbichler and heads towards Bellino. Certainly broken the challenge of Gilbert now, who looks resigned to take second place. Just the rock section to go for Tadej Blazujak. He will make it 2 wins out of 2. It's been another superhuman effort by the Pole, and that is why he has dominated Super Enduro in recent years. Gilbert gave him plenty to think about and put in one of the performances of his career, especially in retaking the lead following his tumble, but ultimately he couldn't match the might of Tadej Blazujak. That's 2 wins out of 2. Can anybody stop him at Liverpool today? 5th place for David Knight, and he will not be happy with that. He finishes behind Carl Redman, the American taking 4th behind Alfredo Gomez, one of 2 Spanish riders in the top 3 behind Gilbert, with Tadej Blazujak showing why he's #1 Super Enduro rider in the world. It's a reverse grid for the second junior race of the day as the 5-second board is up. Any moment now the gate will drop and away we'll go. So then, who will get the whole shot? It looks like a good start for the German, Tim Apollo. Larson and McCanny start at the very back this time. They're all sorting themselves out as they hit the reels. A couple of juniors struggled with this in race 1, and same again in race 2 as they start to bunch. Don't panic is the key. Second place in the hands of Jack Rowland on the Husqvarna on bike 89 as he prepares to hit the water splash. He's got Apollo in front, the German also riding a Husqvarna. These 2 riders were both lapped in race 1, but making the most of their advantage of front row positions on the starting gate due to the reverse grid ruling. Rowland looking to gain ground on his German rival as they hit the rock section. Rowland in second place, and here he just comes into the picture now. The German's struggling. Oh, as Rowland goes in the side and they practically come together, Rowland just muscles his way through into first place. So Jack Rowland of Great Britain leads then. Through the firewood they go. 80 is Nicolo Mori from Italy, followed by 23, Gethin Humphreys. Out front it's still Rowland who leads. Rowland electing to take the outside reel with Apollo going for the middle. Meanwhile, look who's closing in. None other than Jamie McCanny on bike 68. He's ahead of Giacomo Redondi of Italy, who's 4th. McCanny, who was 2nd in race 1, so therefore had to start from row 2. Well, he's worked his way up into 3rd place, and based on that, you'd expect him to continue to close in on the front 2 riders. Race 1 Larson is a little further back down the order. They exit the water, and we're looking at Jamie McCanny from the Isle of Man. He's got plenty of supporters here who have flown and taken ferries into Liverpool to cheer on their man. Here comes Rowland into the rocks with Apollo still in 2nd. But the Manx contingent in the crowd getting excited by the prospect of Jamie McCanny closing in. There he is on bike 68. Rowland still leading, McCanny still back in 3rd position. That's Redondi back in 4th. Is this McCanny's moment now? He's closing in on the front as they go through the firewood, looking for the middle gap. They go over, but he can't take advantage. Couldn't exploit the gap. It looked like McCanny may just take them, but he'll steel himself for another go. Back in the rocks, Gary Daniels in a spot of bother. There's Linerson on bike 11 trying to safely negotiate safe passage. 19 is Lee Seeley. McCanny has gone up to 2nd and he's now in pursuit of Jack Rowland as they go through the log section. Redondi just behind him. McCanny on bike 68 trying to close in on Rowland, and I think he did then. They'll have to go left, he does. Loses half a second or so as they go into this gloop. Oh, he's got his back wheel stuck. He's going to lose 2nd place, is he? McCanny, he has. Oh, what drama. Jamie McCanny slips back to 3rd place. So having retaken 2nd place. Oh, and now McCanny goes through this time. What a race this is. He had his back wheel stuck on the log. He now goes off in search of Rowland. The Manxman has got the scent of the Yorkshireman in his nostrils as they quite literally hit the rocks. That's rolling in front, and here goes Jamie McCanny. McCanny goes into the lead. Jamie McCanny from the Isle of Man. Oh, someone bites down into the rocks. We're all looking at McCanny at the moment as he goes over. He now leads. There's his brother Danny. Delighted to see him leading. That's Rob Johnson in trouble in the logs as Jamie McCanny, the race leader, goes past, and the volume inside this arena has increased somewhat during this race. A strong contingent from the Isle of Man, and they are making themselves heard. Plenty of three legs of man being waved among the crowd. Here comes Jamie McCanny to take the win. What a performance from the young Manxman. Not such a good result for race one winner Andreas Lynasson. That means a second place in race one, and victory in this has Jamie McCanny leading the Junior World Championship.
First ever time doing this indoor, and it definitely spices things up starting from the back. And you know, we always have trouble over the cotton wheels first lap, and say get away lucky, but I think I thought before I made the move, and I think I made the right line, and it helped me pull away. So yeah, and I just slowly picked them off, and yeah, nice to take the win.
Stay tuned for more FIM Super Enduro Championship action from Liverpool. Welcome back to Liverpool in the Echo Arena for the opening round of the FIM Super Enduro World Championship. So far, Tadej Blazujak has been the man to beat. But David Knight is gunning for the pole in the last race of the day.
And we're away. A lot more unpredictable this one, but a good start by Blazujak. Not such a good start for Knight. In fact, a terrible start for Knight, as he can't find a gap. Ultimately, he couldn't match the might of Tadej Blazujak. That's 2 wins out of 2.
We're all ready for the third and final prestige race of the day. No reverse grids this time. The riders line up just as they did for race one, with Tadej Blazujak in pole position on the inside of the gate.
David Knight could well be the man to watch. He's still fuming from the second heat as we wait for the gate to drop. Any moment now, there we go. Oh, and he's off to a flyer. But it's Blazujak who gets there first. Cody Webb away well, but it's Blazujak who leads. 92nd as they hit the cotton rails. And here goes David Knight, the Manxman. He's giving it everything. Blazujak just ahead, or is he? Oh, Knight just gets stalled there. Perhaps he just caught the top of the log. He's losing touch with Blazujak. And here comes Johnny Walker, the British rider, alongside Knight along the back section. What a duel this is. Knight just edges ahead, but while they're squabbling over second, Blazujak has pulled at least 3 bike lengths at the front as they go through the water splash. David Knight's not giving up. He's desperate to beat Blazujak. He bent his front disc in race one and then looked out on the reverse grid on race two. He's second at present with Walker and Lundgren behind him. Blazujak continues to pull away at the front. He's 5 years younger than Knight. That may be another factor in his favour. Knight won't give up. He's trying everything to close in on the world champion. He looks to close the gap somewhat. Blazujak completes the flap in first place. Knight is second. Walker still third. Knight will have been encouraged by how he closed in on the pole. Blazujak will be encouraged by how quickly he's getting away from the Manxman again. It's a three-way fight at the front. Knight admitting he's been feeling it in the earlier races. He's not as fit as perhaps he should be, or certainly would like to be. He's got the much younger Johnny Walker right behind him. The towering Lundgren of Sweden in fourth place. But Knight more concerned with Walker right now, when he'd rather be dealing with Blazujak. Walker really looking very strong. Blazujak settled into a rhythm, able to pick his lines without having been bothered by anyone else. Knight and Walker, on the other hand, have to think about each other. Such a good start by Gilbert this time, one of the sensations of the day so far. He's back down the order behind Cody Webb. Meanwhile, Knight has found something from somewhere. In fact, it may be that Walker made a mistake out of shots as he drops back toward Lundgren, and that should leave Knight to concentrate on Blazujak. Looking back from Danny McCanny, the junior world champion who has moved up to prestige this year. That's Alfredo Gomez behind him on the rocks. Knight still has Blazujak in his sights. The adrenaline will be pumping as the home crowd urge on their man. There is some atmosphere in the Echo Arena right now. Gomez with Cody Webb, the American, on his tail. Behind them is Gilbert, who's not looking like the force he was earlier today. Further back, it's Kevin Ruckstuhl and Ricky Dietrich, the two Americans, through the rocks with Tom Sagar, the British rider, just behind them. David Knight on the Sherco, still in pursuit of Tadej Brzuzak. And this energy-sapping course will be taking its toll on the riders, even on these super athletes. This is one of the toughest sports on the planet, and this track provides very little time to get your breath back. Brzuzak in the one section where you can compose yourself for a moment, the turn just before the rock section. That's where David Knight is now, the least physical part of the course, and it needs to be as they tackle the toughest section. Brzuzak in the rocks, and see how he has to fight with his front. Much needed from Knight, who keeps his wheel down. He looks to gain some ground on the race leader. Brzuzak looking tired through the firewood. There goes Knight, but Gilbert looks to be in trouble in the rocks, and he's dropped the Husselberg. Brzuzak begins another lap in the #1 position. Gilbert on his way again. Brzuzak has looked neat through this section all day. He can't afford a mistake. If he does, then this man will be on him in a flash. Walker still in third place. Brzuzak keeping his momentum going. Here comes Knight. A bit stop-start from him, and they're coming up on traffic, of course. Will the slower riders play their part in deciding the outcome of this race? The gap is still the same between Brzuzak and Knight. The pole seems to gain from the logs onward, but Knight appears to gain through the rocks, so it's a bit of give and take in a way. Knight again with a great line as we look at Johnny Walker, who's a bit more erratic, but gets through quickly. There goes Brzuzak, and he's closing on the American Ricky Dietrich, who is in last place at present. Sensibly, he keeps out of the way of the race leader, and it's from this point on that Brzuzak just seems to open up a little bit on Knight. And he certainly opened up a slight gap overnight this time. Meanwhile, this is Carl Redmond of the USA, Tom Sagar of Great Britain, and Matthias Bellino of France, who will have Brzuzak to think about very shortly. He's already at the water section. The dirt on the exit, very, very sticky. It's been giving quite a few riders food for thought, but not this man. We pick up on this trio again, but expect to see Brzuzak very, very soon. Here he comes now. Still looks as fresh and as comfortable as when he started this race. Oh, now then, Sagar and Bellino have come together in the rocks, and Brzuzak may have to take a different line. There's not much room. He'll have to pick his way safely through. Well done, Tadej Brzuzak gets through with the minimum of fuss. And next it will be David Knight's turn to get past them. So Tadej Brzuzak on course to make it a hat-trick of victories at the Echo Arena in Liverpool. It looks like the perfect start to the defence of his title. He's come a long, long way since he drove from Poland in a battered old van to Spain and hung around the Gas camp, who eventually spotted his talent on a trials bike, upon which he went on to enjoy great success before turning his hand to Enduro, indoor especially. Another good ride by Johnny Walker. This looks like the best of the day for the 22-year-old. He's just lapped Tom Sagar. Brzuzak on the KTM. Here comes Knight on the Sherco. He's still close to the race leader, but he needs to be closer with time running out. Walker in third. It's so gloopy on this part out of the water. He's held up momentarily, but he's on his way again. It's looking like a foregone conclusion with Brzuzak comfortably first, Knight still pressing on in second, and Walker in third with a good advantage over the likes of Gomez, Webb and Lundgren. Knight, nice and neat through the rock section again. That's Bellino in trouble. They'll have to pick their way past him. Not far to go for Brzuzak. A couple of back markers up ahead of him. Walker sees the last lap board, and he'll be content with third at this stage. It's Carl Redmond and Kevin Ruckstuhl, the two Americans, who are about to get the Tadej treatment. This is the section he's really impressed. He's been impressive all the way around this circuit, but through here he makes it look effortless as he passes the two American boys. He's just a few more turns from win number 3 and a maximum haul of points here at the Echo Arena in Liverpool. The series goes to his homeland of Poland for round 2. Although he hasn't lived there for some time, he will still have massive backing from the home fans there. In the new year, the championship moves to Brazil and Mexico, with a round in France as well. Well, Tadej Blazujak has set down the marker for everyone else. He's been quite faultless here today. Scared is probably too strong a word, but a lot of riders said how apprehensive they were ahead of racing this very technical course today. Well, this man has shown them how it is done. He takes the checkered flag for the 3rd time today. There'll be a huge cheer too for David Knight as he takes 2nd place, with Johnny Walker in 3rd for Great Britain. But it's another scintillating display from Tadej Blazujak. Results time, and Blazujak unseated from the #1 position, with David Knight in 2nd place ahead of Johnny Walker, Joachim Lundgren, Alfredo Gomez and Cody Webb, who's the best of the Americans here in Liverpool today.
It's been a perfect day, you know, I couldn't wish for better. It was a great day, like I said. From first practice, I had a really good run. You know, like I felt really good on the bike, really comfy. So had some decent times in time practice. Then won the Super Bowl and won all 3 finals. You know, like I said, I couldn't ask for more.
The last race there, pole shot again, and you know, just used my head really, but just tried keeping with Taddy, and I think I kept him pretty honest in it. It was just like my lack of race fitness really. You know, I've been working the last 2 months hard on racing, but you wouldn't believe how physical this track was.
This is how things look going into the next round, with David Knight in 2nd place. But it's Tadej Blazujak who's blazing a trail in the #1 spot. And he's already proving to be the man to beat in the FIM Super Enduro World Championship. That's all for now. Join us again next time for round 2, when we're in Poland.